and welcome to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're all doing good. Um, it is Friday, and we are going to go over the Bears Lions game that is happening this Sunday in Soldiers Field at noon Central Standard Time. So I just want to, just a real fun. I had a real good week. If I sound a little hoarse or if I cough here and there, it's because I had too much fun. Me and my three best buddies, my ladies, my gang, we went to one of the friends' houses in Palm Springs, and we were there a few days this week. Elvis, my cat, came. I took him. And it was a little bumpy the first going there. Very hilly driving. The particular route I took is the fastest, but it's very hilly. So poor Elvis got sick. But God bless him, he did it in his kitty box. I mean, who could ask for more than that? Because I had a kitty box in the back seat just in case he, had to do his business. So, but coming back, he was an angel, so he was used to it by then. And we had a blast. We just spent all our time eating, drinking, laughing, talking, in the pool and the hot tub. So, I'm pretty pooped. This show is the only thing I'm doing today. So, let's get to it. I just wanted to let you know that your announcer, she likes to have fun. That's why the brain is pickled. Okay, so let's talk about the Bears. The Bears are 1-2, we know that, and the Lions are 0-3. It always makes me nervous to play a team that's undefeated, and especially this week, the Lions, because they just had a heartbreaking loss last week. And with 2 seconds left, the game was tied. And the other team, for life of me, I don't know who they played them, but Baltimore Ravens. This guy, they went for it for the win, and he kicked a record-setting 66-yard field goal to win the game. So the Lions were just defeated, and they're probably pissed. So now they're coming to Soldier Field. So you never want to be playing a team that's pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Although, we could say on the other hand, the Bears should be pissed off after that embarrassment of last week. That's all I'm going to say, because if you watched my show on Monday, I vented and got it all out then, and I'm not going to do it again. So let's talk about this. So the Lions and the Bears have played a total of 182 times. The Bears have won 102 of them. The Lions have won 75, and there was 5 ties. The first time the Bears actually played the Detroit Lions was in 1934. But before that, for about 10 years before that, the Lions were actually called the Portsmouth Spartans. And then in 1934, they changed it to the Detroit Lions. So there's your little tidbit on that, baby. And so we're going to talk about the Lions a little bit. So the Lions, we all know, they swapped quarterbacks with the Rams. Matthew Stafford went to the Rams, and Jared Goff came to Detroit. And he's actually doing pretty good. He has thrown for 801 yards with 5 TDs, and I saw he has 1 interception. So that is pretty darn good. Way better than our quarterbacks, as you will see. So Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback, and I think they have a new coach this year, Detroit, and they're trying to rebuild. And they're trying to do it the right way because they've never done that. So I guess the owner gave this guy a pretty long contract, and she said, I want you to start from scratch and rebuild and make us a winner. So we'll see. The Lions have scored only 67 points of offense. And I'm still pretty sure that's better than the Bears, but we'll get to the Bears in a minute. But they have allowed, their defense has given up 95 points. They have, their total rushing yards is 317 yards, and that is pretty much between the two of their running backs. It's not spread out as much as ours is, but, and it's not all on one guy. So that's good. And their defense has 8 sacks, and their offense have given up 6 sacks. They have a much better line than us. That is quite clear because we wish we only had 6 sacks. That's what I'm going to say about that. But the thing about it, when I was writing down all these things, is the Bears and Detroit are very similar in their stats. So we'll talk about the Bears. The Bears, this is bad. So Goff has 801 yards passing. Between Dalton and Fields, they've only passed for 400 yards. Well, we know last week we only passed, 1 yard? So when all the statistics came in, it was pretty embarrassing last week. So only 400 yards passing. That's not very good. So Goff has got us on that one. Rushing, we're pretty much the same. They had 317. We have 303. But David Montgomery has 203 of those 303 yards. And then it's broken down by, Fields has some. The other guy, number 8, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He has some. So, you know what? We're pretty even Steven on that one. The Bears offense has scored 67 points. So what did I say? Jesus, that's incredible. I just realized this. The Bears and Detroit have both scored 67 points offensively. Okay, so that's even Steven. But the Bears have only allowed 77 points by the defense. So that's really good because they had 95 or 96, something like that, 97. So it is kind of funny. We both have exactly the same amount of points scored, but our defense has only allowed 77 points. And a lot of that came in the first game because the first game they gave up Rams 34 points. So the Bears defense has them beat on this too. They have a total of 11 sacks, and Quinn, number 94, our defensive lineman, is leading the pack with 3.5 sacks. And Mack, we all know Mack, our other defensive lineman, number 52, he has 3. And then the rest of them are amongst, other teammates. Now, this is where we're really bad. The Bears' offensive line have given up 15 sacks. 4 for Dalton and 11 for Fields. And we know 9 of them came last week. So our line is crap compared to theirs. And our line has got to step up. I don't care, and I really wish that Nagy would use our tight ends more. I've seen it around the league for many years. When you've got a shitty line or you've got too many injuries, you can plug in, if you've got tight ends that can block, people put them in there. So, we know Clement is our youngest tight end right now. He's in his second year, so I'm not really sure about his blocking, but we have other tight ends that have been around. So they need to insert them this week because we really, really, really need, we don't know who the starter is. As of right now, the last I heard, which was about 2 hours ago, Nagy, in all his wisdom, has said it will be a game time decision because Dalton is still questionable. So my guess is it's going to be Fields again. And if it is, that offensive line and Nagy better do something because if you let what happened last week happen to him again, you're going to ruin this kid. And you know how I feel about Nagy and ruining quarterbacks. So I won't keep going down that road, but I will say Mitchell Trubisky. So we'll see who starts, but unless Dalton makes a big recovery in the next 2 days, it'll most likely be Fields. I don't see why he would put Foles in over Fields, because at this point you might as well let Fields play then. But if Dalton, in my opinion, were healthy, I would play him. Just to get Fields' head back on straight again, and let him watch and learn a little bit more. But we'll see. That is up to Nagy, so we'll see on Sunday. So I don't know what to wish for, quite honestly. So I'm just giving you the facts, man, the facts. These are the injuries as of today. So we won't know on the questionables if they'll start on Sunday or not, but this is where it stands. I don't list every single one, because if they're not starters, I'm not putting them on there. But number 38, Gibson, our senior, our safety, is doubtful again this week. Bad hamstring, and boy, we can really use him because our backfield is hurting. On the defense, we've got it seems like the line is really coming together. And we're going to talk about that in a sec. And then our linebackers are playing. It's the backfields. It's the cornerbacks and the safeties that seem to be having the problem. So we really, really could use Gibson, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be there. Number 52, Mack, defensive lineman, bad foot. He's questionable. Bummer, because that'll really hurt, because with him healthy and Quinn deciding to play this year, his second year with us, he showed up and he's earning that paycheck. Those two are dynamic. Obviously, one has 3.5 sacks and the other one has 3. So we could really use Max, so let's hope he's in. And then, obviously, number 14, Andy Dalton, is questionable. Don't have to say any more about that. And the other standout to me was Mr. Mooney, number 11, my favorite receiver, and he's also questionable, and I would really like to see him in there, but he's got, what was his? I think his was a hamstring. So, but the good news is Eddie Goldman is going to play. Unless something happens from today, right now, till Sunday, he is scheduled to play. Now, if Eddie Goldman gets out there and plays the way he can, the defensive line is even going to be better. And they've actually been pretty good. So, it would be very, very awesome. So let's hope that Eddie Goldman, it's true, he makes it, because we could really, really, really use him. So basically, these teams are similar in so many ways. And so I really would like to see, well, if Fields gets in there, obviously I just said the line has got to do whatever they can do to keep him from being sacked. And Nagy, I did hear, and I don't know if this is true, but the rumor was a couple days ago that Bill Lazor is going to start calling the plays again, like he did last year for a while. But I have not seen that completely confirmed, like it's a fact. So I don't know. You know how lies can, one person can say anything and it turns into, people think it's fact and it's not. So that's the thing is Nagy really should not be calling the plays because he sucks. But whoever is calling these plays, again, like, for last week, you've got to protect Fields. You've got to have some check downs, guys that are standing there waiting 5 yards out. So if he can't go down the field, he could, chuck it off to them if it's a pass play. I'd like to see the running game get going a little bit better. We started out pretty good last week and then Nagy got away from it. And then he's, putting this poor kid, Fields, in harm's way with 9 sacks. So, I from what I understand, remember, I don't live there. From what I understand, though, the media and fans, they want Nagy gone, and they want his head. The thing is, in football, there are only 17 games, and a lot goes into it. Baseball and basketball, sometimes they can fire their coaches in the middle of the season because they still have another 70 games to go. But in football, it's a little bit more difficult. So I don't see the Bears doing that because no decent coach is going to come in the middle of the season. They're just not going to do it. And I don't really see anybody within the team that could take this over. If we had Vic Fangio still here, I'd be like, yeah, fire him and put him the head coach, because now look at him. He's 3-0 as the Denver's turning it around, which I knew they would with him. This is his third year and they're 3-0, so good luck to them. But so they're not going to fire Nagy, but I believe his contract is up after this year, so he better be frickin' gone, because he is terrible. So we know in reading stats and this and looking at turnovers, which I didn't mention all that. Bears have the better defense for sure, and Detroit has the better offense. It would be really good to see more turnovers. They did have more turnovers than we did, but that would be great if we could get the defense back on that turnover train. Woo, woo, turnovers, baby. And but I think this is going to be a close game. And the Bears, but they need to come out strong on all sides, offensive, defensive, and kicking game, because they have to make a statement after what happened last week. Because if they don't win this game and they look like they did last week, I'm a Bears fan. I will watch them every week, and I will still root for them to win, but I don't think they'll be going anywhere, because that just means, well, maybe Nagy would get fired. I don't know. We'll see. But they do have to come out and make a pretty solid statement, and they are playing at home, and they do seem to play better at home. So, but they really, you know what, if just for all of their well-beings, and particularly the offensive line, if that line can step up and do half as better than they did last week, we'd be in good shape, right? So everyone's really got to play their best game because they need it for their psyche and to keep them going, because then they'll be 2-2, and that would be much better than 1-3. And again, though, we're playing a team that hasn't won yet, and they're going to come in and they're going to want to win. So Goff is going to be throwing that ball all over the place. He has 801 yards passing, and I said a little while ago, my biggest concern on the Bears, besides the offensive line, the obvious, is our secondary. So if he's throwing, he's got 401 more yards passing than the Bears, two quarterbacks together, he's going to be slinging that baby. I anticipate they're probably going to try to pass initially. Of course, they're going to want to run the ball too, because you need to do that. If you can get the run game going, that opens up your passing game. So, but I have a feeling they're going to come out passing pretty good, because they know that the Bears' secondary has been struggling this year. So, so let's just real quick go over. So I'm trying not to stay on the air forever. So how are we going to win the game? Everybody knows we have to score points. We have to score points, whether it's 3 or 7 every time we touch the ball. The offensive line has to hold up, and if it doesn't matter what quarterback's in there, they have to allow them to throw down the field or even get the play off. You cannot do to Fields again to what happened to him last week. You just can't. So that the defense has got to stop. Obviously, they have to have a really good game, and our secondary, I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to stop the run, because they did it last week until the mid-third quarter, when they were exhausted because they were on the field almost the entire game, and then they started running on us. But so we need to. The secondary of the defense really has to have a good game. We want to keep the time of possession in our favor. Again, why? We all know it. You can say it. It keeps their offense off the field and our defense off the field. And you saw what happened last week. They were playing great, the defense, and then they got tired. It's just going to happen. I mean, as the season goes on, that doesn't happen as fast because they're getting in better in shape. Now this is the 4th game. So, but they definitely, and then penalties. You know how I feel about penalties. Although they only had 5 last week, that's not what killed them. But again, I believe 5 or less, you've got a good chance. So all the things we need to do. I don't really have to tell you. So let's hope they get their shit together. Another little tidbit I wanted to tell you. Okay, so I heard that the Arlington Heights Bears deal is close to being a done deal, and that probably what they said 6 or 7 years. If it happens, there could be a new stadium in Arlington Heights, and I personally think it's awesome. It'll be great for the town of Arlington Heights. I lived in Prospect Heights, so I know Arlington Heights very well because obviously the track is closing, and really, let's face it, the last 10 years the track has not done very well. Not like it did in the olden days. That place was always packed, and it just wasn't. So, and the Bears, it would do them a lot of good to own their own stadium. They don't own Soldier Field. That's owned by the Park District of Chicago. And so they can choose things. Because I was saying to my son that for a long time, the Bears had artificial turf. And they fought with the Park District for years to get real grass because they're like, our players are getting hurt. And that's when artificial grass was not like it is now. You know, it was pretty much a slab of concrete with fake grass on top of it. And the players hated it. So they finally got rid of it. I should have looked it up what year, but it doesn't matter. It's been quite a while. It's probably been 30, 35 years they've had, if not longer, real grass. But that was one of the biggest problems. And they'll own the stadium. And it'll be a better stadium because Soldier Field is, first of all, the oldest football stadium in operation, and it opened in 1924. Well, we know they did a revamping of it, 10 years ago or something like that, and it was okay. It made it better to see games, but it's still the oldest. So I'm hoping Arlington Heights and the Bears work it out. And, you know, if the Bears if they own their own stadium and they ever wanted to sell the team, that would be much easier. You know, it would have been very hard for them, and I'm sure it did if they ever looked into it before, because they didn't own the stadium, you know. So, good choice. So, let's see. So, let's hope that the Bears get their shit together and play like a NFL team. Not, you know, Little League, Pony League football that's down the street in the Park District. A real NFL team. All right, guys? And we all know it's Nagy, so let's just pray and hope that somehow, and you know what? I just really do believe the Bears need to step in, somebody in management, and take the play calling away from them the rest of the year. And just say, you concentrate on being the head coach for both the defense and the offense and the kicking team, and let the defensive coordinator handle it. Let the offensive coordinator, Bill Lazor, handle the play calling and the offense, and the kicking coach, he handles the kicking team, and you oversee. Because that's what a coach does, and he's supposed to do. But Nagy, he wants to be that guru, and it's quite clear he's not. 4 years, and he still looks as shitty as ever. And that is my opinion, and that's all I'm saying. Well, we know I probably will say more than that, but I did promise a friend of mine, because he's a new subscriber. He has never seen any of my shows. He didn't see any last year, and he just saw his first show last week. So he's, and I just wanted to give him a shout out because he is one of the coolest cats I know. I mean, he's so cool. And I don't think I've ever seen a man dress any better than this guy. So I wanted to say, welcome, Earl, to the show. Let's Talk Chicago Bears. And he is a huge Bears fan. So, and that man can dress. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, that's it for the show today. I was going to do, I'm going to save my, you know how I do some shows I do imitating referees, you know, with their, how they call a penalty or, you know, anything. I think I'm going to save it for Monday because we might need a laugh. So I'll save what I was going to do today for Monday. So, again, you know what I said. You know what the Bears need to do. And that's it. I mean, it's really quite simple. So let's hope, right? Let's hope. And actually, I did pretty good today. You know what? I didn't forget too much. And that's, again, because the brain, whoo, baby, we did a little partying for a couple days. But we did have a good time. So, and I hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. Let's hope that we can cap it off with a W on Sunday, and we'll be 2-2. And things will be looking a lot different than they are right now, and you all know it. So, go Bears. I know you can do it, even with that ankle tight, that anchor called Nagy tied around your ankles. I know you can still win despite him. So let's go Bears. And as always, I send you off with a good message. I hope you listen to me. I hope people do this. Because my friends and I were talking about this a lot, that we all just need to be a little bit nicer. I'm not really sure what happened to consideration and thinking about your neighbor or a friend or a coworker or whatever, but extend a hand when it's needed. Help out. You just don't know, like I say, what's going on in somebody's life. And I know from experience, I had a husband. I was married 28 years before he passed away. And we got married very young. We were 22. And he was sick for 17 years out of those 22. And it can be very difficult. And when people just do the simplest thing, it's unbelievable how happy it can make you. So think about others. Sometimes I think it's best to think about others than it is yourself. And that's the problem right now that this country has, is nobody's thinking about anybody else but themselves. So I'll stop lecturing and just be kind, be happy. You should be happy for yourself and be happy for others. All right, that's it. That's the barber. And as always, I love you guys. And just keep on watching. I love my comments. I have great viewers. You're just the best. You really, really are. So at the end of the day, I'm a lucky lady, because at least more than one person watches Let's Talk Chicago Bears. All right, as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I'll see you after that W on Sunday, and I'll see you Monday. And hopefully we'll be laughing for the whole show. Bye-bye.